It's nice to meet you, Rose. What a great day it is today. Are you happy?
Oh yes, I am happy. It's such a beautiful day and grateful to God for such a day.
Okay.
Yes.
What makes you to be happy today?
Just being alive and being healthy.
Okay.
And also for having this conversation with you today.
Yes.
It makes it a great day. So I thank God for His blessings upon me.
Yes. I know we have done these some times back, but I think we might be getting some new viewers. Could you tell us who is Rose?
Well, thank you, Doc. Rose is a born-again Christian, and she's a mother.
Yeah.
A mother of two and a wife to a loving husband. And Rose is also an accountant by profession.
Okay.
And Rose is also a mentor. And well, as an accountant, I run a professional accounting firm by the name of Cian Strategies.
Yes.
Yeah, where we offer services in accountancy, tax, and generally management consultancy. So that is Rose. Yeah, I know I may not have exhausted, but that is who Rose is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Viewers, I want to welcome you to this discussion. We are going to have one of our great student who just graduated, and we want to discuss with her about servant leadership and how the training impacted her life and how she's just practicing what she has learned. And so yes, you've heard about her. She's Rose, very dedicated servant of the Lord, doing a lot of work to influence people to become better servant leaders, and especially in our farm, in the consultancy, and also trying to bring servant leadership in our profession as an accountant. So Rose, tell us, what is this one big lesson that you learned when you went throughout the program on servant leadership, Lead Like Jesus?
Well, thank you, Doc. Once again, servant leadership course, I could say maybe in one word, it revolutionized my life in the way I think, in the way I do things. But one thing I would say, leading like Jesus, of course, to me it meant being more like Jesus. In the aspect of integrity and humility, you know, thinking about Jesus, being God, you know, deity, and coming down to the level of mankind. That is humbling enough. And for me, being a servant leader is being humble and yeah, being a servant. Yeah, and a servant, of course, has a master. So my master being the Lord Jesus.
Yes. I can see you're reading that one of our textbook, Lead Like Jesus.
Yes.
What are some of the new ideas you are picking from this textbook?
Well, from Lead Like Jesus, it means from the book, one of the lessons I'm picking is that to have Jesus as my model, that I need to do things the way Jesus did. Jesus was a humble servant, answerable to the Master, who is God the Father. And well, I'm picking the aspect, especially of the 4H, where we talk of the heart, and everything starts from the heart. And also the issue of the head.
Yes.
And the hands, you know, being hands-on.
Yes.
And then the issue of the habits. What kind of habits do I have as a servant leader?
Yes.
So there's a lot I'm picking from that book, and I believe by the time I finish reading, I'll be different. It will have impacted on me positively.
Okay.
Thank you.
You mentioned something about the heart, the head, the hands, and the habits. But do you know, one of the things that I have heard people talk about is about servant. You hear people saying that I am a servant leader. Yes. I'm a servant leader. Do they have it in their heart, or do they have it according to you? Do you think they have it in their heart, and maybe it's in the head? and maybe it has not even come to their hands to practice it. So what do you think? Because we hear this language, people saying that, that I'm a servant leader, but when we try to look at them, we don't see it. What could be the problem? What do you think could be the problem?
Well, I think being a servant leader, it all starts from the heart.
Yes.
So, and if coming from the heart, it means you are concerned about the well-being of others. It's not just about you, it's about others. I think that's the essence of servant leadership, because it is more of service, more of leading. But what we find out here is more about what is it for me?
Yes.
In terms of leadership, I think that's the common leadership we know about. So most people may say they are servant leaders, but I am sure we do not really understand, or they do not understand what really means to be a servant leader. Because I can tell you, after the course, I learned, even for myself personally, when I was getting into the course, I just said, I want to know more about servant leadership, and I want to be a servant leader. But little did I know that there is more, the depth of the learning is more than I expected. Because actually, being a servant leader, it starts with leading self. So leading self, then we are talking of more of the being.
Yes, the being.
Yes, the being, more than even the doing. More than leading others. Who am I? What is my character?
Yes.
So I think most times when we talk of we are servant leaders, sometimes we don't have an idea, but we just have is it a snapshot, just a small idea of what it's all about. Yeah.
I think one of the things I have noted, and I want to bring this to our viewers, is this: we get to know something, and then it stays in our mind.
Sure.
And then it comes to our mouth. We can talk about it.
Sure.
We can talk about the servant leadership. But hardly do we practice it.
True.
That is the biggest problem. And I think that's the biggest dilemma that we have. You hear people say that I'm a servant leader. They know it. It is about the head. We talked about the head.
Sure.
You had it, but then you brought it into your mind, and then it stays there. It moves you from your head to the mouth.
Yes.
But it does not go behind your mouth.
True.
It is there. And I want to agree with you when you say servant leadership is about being, is who you are,
sure,
and is what you want to become. And even in whatever you do, there is a room we can practice servant leadership.
Sure.
So even you being a professional, an accountant, how has the knowledge of servant leadership influenced your career as a professional accountant?
Wow. Thank you, Doc. I can tell you, I have been influenced a lot because since the time I did the course, it's like servant leadership is just at the back of my mind. In whatever things I'm doing, when making decisions, I'm just thinking, am I doing this as a servant leader? And when I talk of it that way, a servant leader, number one, has to be visionary.
Yes.
And there's also the issue of, maybe if I mention a few characteristics of a servant leader, being a humble leader.
Yes.
Being a leader of integrity. So now here, integrity as a professional, I'm looking at it from the personal perspective.
Yes.
There's a personal integrity, there's the vocational integrity,
yes,
and I think there's the organizational integrity
also.
Where as a leader of an organization, then I consider, do I have integrity? Now, integrity is doing what I say I will do.
Sure.
And I think
also doing what you believe is right.
Oh yes, true.
Yes.
And I remember there's one quote you shared with us, that about especially integrity. Integrity, yes, I think is almost everything to do with servant leadership.
Yes.
Because we said, if you have wealth, somebody is a quote.
Yes.
If you lose wealth, you lose nothing.
Yes.
if you lose health,
You've
you
lost
lose
something.
But if you lose integrity, then
You've
lost
lost
all.
all.
Yes. So in the kind of work that I am doing,
Uh,
without integrity, then I'll lose it all.
You know, you've talked to something, and I remembered what the chairperson of ASLEAD, the anti-corruption body,
Yes.
Dr. Ogide, he said it is the most corrupt people are the professionals. And he talked about the lawyers, he talked about the engineers, he talked about the accountant, and he was at pain when you would look at him. He said the people who should live their core values, because I believe in every profession there are some core values that you can't cross over.
Sure.
But then we see these professionals, they are the one who actually they have become the conduit, the channel of corruption in our society. And then you ask why. So what is what is it this you can tell a professionals like you to think about? Is it to live their own value or to do what?
Well, I think I would tell them, these core values, they are core values, not just, just to be there, but they should guide the affairs of the work we do.
Sure.
But at the back of our mind is always to know that we are answerable to somebody else. So I bring up the issue of stewardship, such that we know that whatever we are doing, it does not belong to us. Even if it is the gifting, the work we are doing, it is just a gifting. God has gifted us. In the work I'm doing as an accountant, it is a gift. So always to remember that I am answerable to the owner of this gifting.
Yes.
So the issue of stewardship accounting, God has given me this responsibility. He is the owner.
Yes.
And I should remember that I will be accountable. So the question is, will I be found faithful?
Yes.
So we have core values to guide us and to help us. And most of us, like accountants, of course, integrity, professionalism, honesty, trustworthiness, these are the kind of values we have. And if we lived to those kind of values, then we are leading more like Jesus. And we will achieve results that is it an eternal perspective?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and that is what should make us fear, even as we serve, because we know that at the end of the day, we shall be answerable for every action.
Yes, and you've talked to something, and I've thought about this. We talk servant leadership in our program. We more talk about the being of a leader.
Sure.
One of the things that I have noted is that when somebody is not transformed from the inside, even what he or she is doing cannot bring any change.
Oh, very true.
It can't bring any change. So the being of a leader or the being of any person is the number one issue that we should guide on. We should guard. And this is what our Lord Jesus taught. He told us just to be transformed from the inside. And the more